Hello, everybody. I'm here to tell you a mysterious and terrifying story about an abandoned house that I found in the middle of nowhere, a place that I should not have even been in the first place. It was one of those places that just gives you a really bad feeling. So, this happened back when I was 18 years old. I lived out in the country. We had a dirt road in front of our house, and it was just surrounded by cornfields. And at the end of the summer, my friends and I decided we were gonna go check out this abandoned house that was literally in the middle of nowhere. We never saw anybody go in or out of it, and we never even saw any lights at night. But we finally decided that we were gonna go check it out because we were just so curious. And we found this house, which looked exactly like this, just completely abandoned. So we re-driving down the road, and we start looking for this house, and we finally see it. And it's like, whoa, this is crazy. How could anyone live here? Because it was just in the middle of absolutely nowhere. There was no reason for a house to be out there, especially considering how run down it was. So we start walking around the property, and we notice that the front door is open. And we're like, oh, we might actually be able to get inside this house. And we walked in, and it was just completely abandoned. Like everything was destroyed inside. There were spiders everywhere. And I remember specifically seeing this rocking chair in the corner, and it was just swaying back and forth slightly. And I was like, oh my God, what was that? And I ran out of the house, and I didn't even want to look back. And then we started driving around the area because we couldn't find the road that we were supposed to take to get home. And it was getting dark now, and we were getting really scared. And we finally found the road, and we got on it, and we started driving towards our house. And then we heard this noise behind us, and we turned around, and we saw this black van driving towards us. And we're like, oh, cool. Maybe they can help us find our way home. But then they slowed down and they stopped in front of us and they turned their car off, and we did the same. And then they started walking towards us, and we started walking backwards towards our car. And then they stopped and they started talking to us, and they were asking us if we needed help and stuff. And we said, oh no, we're fine. We're just trying to get home. And then they said, well, you're not going anywhere tonight. And then they started coming closer and closer. And I remember stepping backwards and I tripped on something and I fell and I started screaming, and then they started running towards me and I ran to my car and I locked myself inside. And then they started banging on my car and they started yelling, let us in, let us in. And I was sitting there with my foot on the brake and I started driving forward and I hit them and I knocked them down, and then I sped away and I didn't stop until I got home. And then I told my parents what had happened and they said, oh, don't worry. You probably just imagined it. And I was like, no, I didn't. I'm telling you, these people tried to kill us. And then my dad said, well, next time, don't go into abandoned houses because obviously there's dangerous people who live in there. And I've never told anyone this story before, but I've always remembered it, and it's always scared me. And I think about how close I was to death and how my parents would have had to deal with that. And it just makes me sick to my stomach thinking about it.